Good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's getting in here okay. There's some weird bug with Twitch, like for the last 5-10 minutes. It wouldn't even let me go live for some reason. I don't know. So I'll give it a second just to see if anybody else is trying to join up. How's everybody doing today? Hey, what's going on, Madeline? Yeah, I just got like a bunch of emails from you guys, and so Cassidy, I sent out an email because iTunes wasn't working. So check your email and see if you can download it right now. No, you're fine. You're fine, Hunter. Like I said, you guys are never. It's never mandatory for you guys to come to the live stream. It's just it gives you guys that opportunity to ask questions if you need to. I'll always have, and actually, what you guys will start noticing. I'm gonna go back to the starting scene for a second. I had to put in the bottom right corner who this music was by because this guy, the artist's name MBB. He gave me permission to give his or for me to use his music on stream, and Twitch is still banning my videos. So if you were to go back and look at some of the old videos on Twitch, it says muted audio. And they're saying that I stole the music from the artist, even though the artist told me it was okay, I can use it on the stream. It's pretty funny. I actually have a friend right now. He's going to make us our own personalized music that I will own. And he'll set it up for these streams so it will stop muting us. Oop, I did it again. My mistake. All right. So I think that gives enough time for everybody to catch up. So as Cassidy said, if you guys don't have the lesson or homework, you can't download it on iTunes. You have to do it through your email. And I emailed it, I believe, to everybody in Algebra 2. It's because I have the light on above me, Jade. So, like, hold on one second. There we go. That should be better. My wife likes having the light on when she works so she can see, but since we have the iPad, I don't really need to have the light on in order to see. But now my hair is back to being normal brown and balding. You guys are making me feel self-conscious now. You guys are mean. So, anyways, if you guys got this lesson, this is really just an extension on what we did the other day, except the denominators are going to have binomials in them now as well. So on Friday and Thursday and Friday, because we did it in 2 days, all the denominators were monomials. So when you do a monomial, that's just a single term. Today, we're going to have a mixture of both. So I only want to do 3 questions with you guys. And I'm going to do just A, B, and C. I'm sorry, exercise number 1A, B, and exercise number 2A. And then I'm going to go through the warm-up with you guys because the warm-up I don't think anybody's really going to struggle with. The warm-up is something that was on your midterm earlier this year. And this was the factoring by grouping. So if you guys ever have 4 terms, you guys had to separate them into 2 separate groups and factor down. Cassidy, I'm going to put the due date on for tomorrow at 9 p.m. I just haven't added it to Shobi yet. There's been a lot of tech issues today. So when we did factoring by grouping, we just had to look at each parenthesis individually and just factor them out both. So in the first one, if you guys take a look at it, you should have an x cubed that is in common in both of them. So it would be left with an x minus 4 on the inside of the parentheses. And if you guys look at the second one, we're going to have to pull out a negative 9. Oh, and we can also pull out 1x. So in the second parenthesis, if we did everything right, it should be exactly the same as the first parenthesis. So it should be x minus 4 if you divide both of those by negative 9x. And then you guys were taught to do GCF another time. And in this case, our GCF in this step is going to be the x minus 4s because both of those are in common. We can pull the x minus 4 to the outside. So x minus 4 is going to be the GCF. Since we pulled the x minus 4 to the outside, we're left with an x cubed minus 9x in the second parenthesis. And technically, there is still one more of these bubbles that you guys can factor out. And it would be that last bubble, the x cubed minus 9x. You could technically pull an x out of both of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull an x all the way to the outside. I'm still going to have an x minus 4. But this last bubble, since we pulled the x out, it'll be x squared minus 9. So if anybody's lost with that, just let me know, because that last step right there, I pulled it all the way to the outside instead of writing the x inside the middle. But now that I pulled that out, the only other thing this question's asking us to do is find the zeros. So when you guys are looking for zeros, you just have to make sure, I didn't do it in the first step because I wanted to make sure that you guys had the factoring down. We just have to set everything equal to 0. And then Javon, we don't have to simplify because it's asking us to solve. So what you guys would have to do is t-chart it all. So I'm just going to draw my t-chart, and technically, you know what I'll do, just so I don't have to draw like arrows and stuff, I'll take this step right here and I'll bring it up over here on the side. And then I'll just draw my t-chart straight down. We're going to have 2 t's in this case. And then we just have to simplify or solve all 3 of those. The first one's easy because you're just setting it equal to 0. The second one, if you do x minus 4 equals 0, it's really just going to be x is equal to positive 4. And in the last one, we'll have x squared minus 9 is equal to 0. You can simplify x squared minus 9 if you want to. I'm just not doing it that way. So what I'm doing instead is I'm moving the 9 over to the other side, and I'm square rooting both sides. So if I square root both sides, I'm going to get x is equal to not only positive 3, but negative 3. So Tabitha, what you just asked is another option you can do, and you could split it up into 2 bubbles, and you could do 3 t-charts. I just solved it with 2 t-charts instead. So it's the same thing. You'll get the same answers. So we'll have x equals 0, x equals 4, and x equals plus or minus 3. So that question was on the midterm. I know eventually we'll probably do it. When did we say? I think we said this quarter ends on the 8th. Yeah, I think the last day of this quarter is next Wednesday or next Thursday. So what we'll probably do is once 4th quarter starts, I'll probably start off by giving you guys a review of everything we've been doing so far this year. Yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing that too. As of right now, none of them are coming up on mine either, Sierra. I don't know why. I could try one thing. Oh, you know what? Oh, no, it's still here. I don't know why it's not coming up. Did it get moved? Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't want to work right now. Let me try something. I'll switch to webcam and I'll switch back and see if it starts typing in there. Because sometimes that will fix it. Hello? Yeah, there it goes. Now if you guys start typing, it should start popping up. I think it was at the beginning when I was showing you guys that I had to do the music. I was showing you guys the music portion. It like prevented it from showing up at all. I don't know why. Okay, yeah, that's fine, Sierra. Just send me an email. All right, so I'm just gonna extend on what we did on the lesson the other day. So we're gonna be looking at, like I said, all of exercise number 1 and just part A and exercise number 2. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in on exercise number 1. Holy cow, there's a lot of people in here today. So if you guys look at exercise number 1. Oh, you're killing me, Ella. If you were following my Instagram, you would see this. So I posted a little Instagram thing. Do you guys remember when you do square roots, there's always 2 solutions? You can say positive 3 times positive 3, and you can say negative 3 times negative 3. Yeah, if you guys check the Instagram, I posted a little math meme that shows a picture of Yoda. No, you do not need to check, Tabitha. Those are automatically the answers. So this is going to be just like last lesson. So what I'm going to do is off to the side, I'm going to write down LCD. There's just one big difference about today. When you look at those denominators, we have to make sure we understand that the denominators are all one in itself. So if you look at A, we have x over x plus 1. This x plus 1 is technically in parentheses on both the top and bottom. Those x's and 1's cannot be separated from each other. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I want you guys to see that all of these are still individual fractions, and we still want to find an LCD. Well, one of our denominators is x plus 1, while another one of our denominators is x. So what we want to do is make sure that we have the same denominator overall. So in order to do so, I'm just going to write the 2 denominators off to the side and multiply them together. Because we had an x in both of these denominators, we knew that we needed an x inside of our LCD. Because we have an x plus 1 in both of these denominators, I know I have to have an x plus 1 in my LCD. So in order to find the LCD, what we're really going to do is just multiply the denominators together. Now, I'm going to show it just like we did last time. And I'm going to show you guys why that trick that we did, the little shortcut, is kind of annoying when you start doing it with binomials. So I'm going to show you guys a shortcut to the shortcut we did last time. So I'm going to do it just like we did on Friday because I don't want anybody to be confused. So what we said we had to do is multiply everything out. So if you look at that first fraction, we had an x plus 1 on the bottom. We have to multiply it by x. And whatever we do to the bottom, we got to do to the top. Same thing on the bottom fraction. It's just missing an x, so I'm going to multiply those x's out. Now when we go over to the third one, or second and fourth one, I should say, the 1 over x, that's missing an x plus 1. And the top is missing an x plus 1, as well as the bottom fraction. So now what we're going to do is the little trick that we said is we can cancel out all those denominators because all those denominators are the same. And what we said last time is when you guys have that LCD, we're eventually going to be doing keep, change, flip so they can cancel out. So this I told you guys is a shortcut, but I still consider it the longer method. So I'm going to try to shorten it up for you guys in the next one. So now when we multiply it all out, we're going to have an x squared on top minus, and we have to distribute, make sure this is a -1 that you guys are distributing because it's subtraction. So you have to distribute a -1 into the x and that +1. So we have a -1 times x, which is just -x, and -1 times 1 is -1. All over on the bottom, we're going to have x times x, which is x squared. And then we have to distribute this 1 down here. This time it's positive, so it doesn't matter. So we're going to have a plus x and a plus 1. And then we just check to see if we can factor and cancel stuff out. What you guys will notice here is neither one of those trinomials can be factored because there is nothing you can multiply to get to -1 that will subtract to give you -1. and there's nothing to do positive 1 that's going to add or subtract to give you positive 1. So that would be your final answer in this case. Okay. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a chance to catch up. You can see it. Make sure you guys are good. So I'm going to show you guys what I mean, and that one was quick because that was like the first example. So maybe this is what I'll do. I'll do the same way on part B, and then I'll wait down until exercise number 2A to solve it all out. Okay. Well, if you look at these two, Sierra, or Tessa, I'm sorry. I don't know why I just read your name as Sierra. If we're going to factor these ones, you have to put them into bubbles first. You can't just start canceling stuff out unless it's all multiplication. So the only way you would be able to simplify this is if you can put them into bubbles on top and bottom. So it is all multiplication. You can't just come over here and say, oh, I have an x squared and x squared. I can cancel out. I have a negative x and an x, that's negative 1. No, you can't do that because it's being separated by addition and subtraction. You can only cancel if it's multiplication. And in this case, we can't factor them, so there's nothing we can do. That would be our final answer. Okay? The top was addition 2. So if the top said plus x and plus 1, then yes, you can cancel them all out right away and you would be okay. Yep. So what Tess is asking is if this was a plus and this was a plus, because top and bottom are exactly the same, we're okay. We can cancel those out. But because they're not, we're not allowed to. It's still recommended to factor first, but in that particular one, we can't. All right, so I'm going to come over to part B, and I showed this on the last homework. This would have been lesson 8. Oh, Katie, you're just being dumb. Okay, so on part B, they all have to be fractions in order for you to solve a complex fraction. So we did it on the homework, but what I told you guys to do on that homework is to take the fractions that don't have denominators and create a denominator. So if there's nothing underneath that x minus 4 and there's nothing underneath that x plus 3, we can just put in the number 1. So I'm just going to put the x minus 4 over 1, and I'm going to put the x plus 3 over 1. And just like we did in the last problem, we want to find an LCD. Keep trying to move this mic out of my way so I can see the iPad. So when I go to do the LCD, what I'm going to do is look at what is the same in both. So I already know I have a 2x plus 3 and a 2x plus 3 on the bottom, and those are already similar. So I know that my LCD has to have a 2x plus 3 in its denominator. However, my other denominators are just 1. So if you really want to, you could put a 1 in front, but you don't necessarily need to because anything times 1 is just going to be that 2x plus 3. So our goal is to get 2x plus 3's in all the denominators. So if I come over to this first fraction, I'm missing 2x plus 3 on the bottom. So whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. If I go to the one right underneath it, same exact thing. I'm missing that 2x plus 3 on top and bottom. But the other two fractions, I'm not missing anything because technically I'm just missing a 1. You could put it in there if you want to. I'm going to do it because it's notes, but it's not necessary. And once all those denominators are the same, they just cancel out. But here's the tricky part. You got to make sure that you are double distributing the stuff on the left side. So we have to do 2x times x. We have to do 2x times negative 4. We're double distributing all of that. So I'm just going to work my way out with it. If you get confused on what I'm doing, I'm just doing the double distribution. So this is going to be 2x squared minus 8x plus 3x minus 12. And then I still have plus 9 over on the other side. You could go without me, babe.
To the other stores?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. It's fine. Because I got my other lesson at 4 o'clock still.
I know.
Yeah. So, I mean, we wouldn't be able to go till 5.
I know.
Okay. It's up to you. If you want to wait, you can wait.
I have to go to the bank, though.
Okay.
That will close. I'm just going to go to the bank and I'll be back.
For the people that don't know, we're going to be getting a puppy, I believe, this weekend. So she's all excited and wants to go to the pet store and buy some stuff. So as far as the bottom goes, we need to do the same exact thing. So I got to distribute that 2x plus 3 times x plus 3. So I'm just distributing the bottom here. Oh, I'll definitely put the puppy on stream when we get it. So if I distribute that, I'm going to have 2x squared. I'm going to have plus 6x plus 3x plus 9. And then it's 5 times 1. Oh, Sierra, what did you say? Sorry, I was like between my wife walking in. You know what I could do? If you guys give me a second, I could put a picture up on the stream. Let me finish the lesson. I'll put it in at the end of the lesson. Oh, you're talking about the pictures that you guys sent me. Yeah, I didn't respond to it. But it was very cute. I'm glad you guys got ice cream. All right. Before we get completely lost on this problem, let's finish this up. So now we just have to combine like terms on top and bottom. Some of you guys probably are already way ahead of me. So I can combine those x's together. I can combine those x's together. I can also combine the whole numbers together. So I'm going to have 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 on the top. And on the bottom, I'm going to have 2x squared plus 9x plus 14 on the bottom. And now I just have to check to see if I can factor them. From what I can see, I can factor the top. So I'm going to factor the top by saying, let's see here. I could do guess and check. And 2x squared has to be 2x and x. And the only thing we can multiply by 3 is 3 and 1. So we just have to figure out, does the 3 come first or does the 1 come first? I think, based on what I'm seeing, it should be the 3 that comes last. And because we're looking for an answer of -5, I could put in my negative and my plus like that. And just remember, when you guys check it, you guys are multiplying the insides, which is 1x. You'll multiply the outsides, which in this case would give us -6x, so that does check. As far as the other side goes, or the bottom, yes, Tabitha, if something's the same on top and bottom, you can cancel it out, as long as it's all multiplication. So it looks like, well, there's only 2 things we can multiply to get 14. It would be 7 and 2 and 14 and 1. But I don't know if we can make this one work, can we? I don't think this one can be factored on the bottom. So if I try breaking it up, I'm going to have 2x and x. 14 could be 7 and 2, and it could be 14 and 1. It's not looking like it's going to check. No matter what we try plugging in, I could do 7 and 2 here. That's going to give me 7x and 4. And 7x and 4x does not give us 9. I don't think we can factor it. I think we're stuck. Azuchi saying no. Azuchi's always right. Azuchi's always right. So if Zuchi says no, it's no. It can't be factored. So in this case, there's nothing we can cancel out because we were not able to change the bottom into multiplication. It was stuck as a trinomial with addition. So technically, that would be your final answer. Okay. A lot of you guys missed out on the Jackbox stream. You could see all the wonderful pictures that my wife and I drew. All right, where are we at? We're at 27 minutes. I'm told I cannot go over a half hour, so I got to make this last one pretty quick. So, if we go to do this last one, just like the last ones, LCD. If you look at all of your denominators, none of them are the same this time. If none of them are the same, that means your denominator is going to be all three of them, because you need to make them the same. So we have to change it so it is x plus 2, x minus 4, and x plus 1, because we got to multiply them all together. Now, if you jumped ahead of me, you're going to be solving this a little bit differently than what I'm going to be doing right now. I'm going to show you guys a shortcut to the shortcut. Okay? So you don't have to keep writing out stuff 100 times. So, once you find this LCD, this is the shortcut. Now, a lot of math teachers are going to prefer the way that I'm about to show you. Honestly, you can do the way that I've been doing it. If you want to save a little bit of time and save a little bit of work so you don't have to write out as much, I recommend doing it the way I'm about to show you now. So once you get that LCD, what you can actually do is just multiply the entire fraction by the LCD. So it's going to look a little weird at first, but I'm going to show you why this shortcut is nice. So I'm going to multiply the entire thing, only the entire fraction, and what I'm going to do is just put the whole thing over 1. I'm going to do this for all three fractions. So I'm going to save a little bit of time. I'm going to use the scissor tool. I'm going to do this to every single fraction. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is, for one, I didn't have to write out those 3 parentheses on the denominators for all of them, because that takes time, and that's annoying. It's tedious. And for 2, I'm going to show you guys the shortcut that we actually did at the beginning of last week when we were multiplying fractions. So after I have this all written out, what I want you guys to notice, I'm going to zoom in on just these first 2 fractions here. This is multiplication on the top. Do you guys remember when we multiplied, if we had something the same on the top and the same on the bottom, we can actually cancel it out? And if you look at those first 2 fractions, we have an x plus 2 and an x plus 2 that are the same. So I can cancel them out. So on the top, I'm going to be left with a 4 times x minus 4 times x plus 1. And we have no denominator, so the fraction's gone. I'm going to do the same thing in the second fraction. So if you look at that second fraction up here, I have an x minus 4 on the bottom. And because we multiplied it by the LCD, there's an x minus 4 on the top too. So we're allowed to cancel those out. So I have plus, I still have that 2 left on the top, and I multiply it by x plus 2 and x plus 1. Uh-oh, my iPad is acting up again. A lot of technology issues. There it goes. So now I can do the bottom, and if you look at the bottom of those fractions, you have an x plus 1 on the bottom, and you have an x plus 1 on top with that LCD that we multiplied it by. So we're going to be left with a 12x minus 24 times it by x plus 2 and x minus 4. So what I'm going to do is, I wanted to show you guys that little trick. I'm going to go more into that trick tomorrow. Okay? So if you're getting a jump start on the homework tonight, homework number 9, you can continue doing it the way that we've been doing it the last few days. If you want to wait until I finish tomorrow's lesson and do more practice with this shortcut, then I suggest waiting to start the homework till tomorrow. Okay. Technically, there's still some more work that we have to do to simplify here, but I'm actually going to stop right now because the lesson just went on for 30 minutes, and it's recommended when I'm teaching lessons, we're only going to keep it no longer than a half hour. That was the recommendation by Mr. B. I don't know if he showed up today. Do you guys see anybody in chat that looks like it would be Mr. Bachkowski's name? I told him what time we were doing the lessons, but it doesn't look like he's here. It also says that there's 26 people in here, but from what I can see, it only looks like maybe 12 to 15 of you guys have created accounts. So I'm glad we're getting a lot more people on here. Sierra, the reason why is because there's, and you know what? I wonder if I'm allowed to put that up. Let me check something real quick. What we're actually doing is we created an online schedule for all the teachers, so all the teachers know what times we're teaching, and we can't overlap each other's times. That's one big thing. So I'm clicking on the list that I made, or that we made. Do we have anybody going after this? Oh, I guess I could go a little bit more and finish this one up at least. Do you guys want me to finish this problem right now? Mr. B is in our principal, Mr. B. Yeah, like Mr. Bachkowski. Yeah, I'll just finish up this problem then. I might as well finish it up. I thought that there was going to be another teacher teaching after this, and we don't want to overlap in case if anybody else is in there. But from what I can see, we're at 3 o'clock, and the next person that teaches is me at 4 o'clock, so we should be fine. Okay, so yeah, I'll finish this one up. So on the top, we would have to distribute. So this is going to be, and I purposely made this a big problem so we can get the practice with all of our multiplication. So when we go to multiply this out here, we have to do our double distributing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make life a little bit easier. I'm going to distribute this 4 in. So it says 4x minus 16. So I'm going to get rid of that part right there, and I just distributed it. So actually, this is really going to be 4x minus 16 times x plus 1. And then over on the other part, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to distribute the 2 inside this one and get 2x plus 4. And you'll have x plus 1. Tabitha, right now you cannot cancel anything out because the top part is not all multiplication. The top part right now has this addition sign in here, so we're not allowed to cancel anything until it's all parentheses like the bottom. We actually do not have to multiply the bottom at all. The bottom is already separated into multiplication, so we are allowed to leave it the way it is. However, the top, we have to simplify that and combine like terms first. How did you guys put an arrow on Pop Pop? That's pretty cool. I didn't know you guys can do that. I'm looking at what Hunter just did. So the little emote that Hunter just posted is actually one of my guinea pigs. But I don't know how he got the little hand there. I don't know how that works. All right. Anyways, now I'm going to double distribute the top. I'm getting too distracted now. So if I do 4x times x, now I'm just double distributing these two up here. 4x times x, 4x times 1. I'm going to have 4x squared plus 4x. Then I can distribute that 16 and have minus 16x minus 16. And then we could do the second one too. We could do 2x times x, 2x times 1. So it looks like we'll have plus 2x squared. And then we have plus 2x plus 4x plus 4. Ugh. So there is a lot going on there. The bottom is still the same thing. So what I'm going to do, since I'm doing it on the iPad, I'm just going to copy it and paste it. So now all we have to do is combine like terms on the top. So I got 4x squared and 2x squared, which would give us 6x squared. I got a lot of x's going on. So I have a 4x, a negative 16x, a 2x, and a 4x. So that looks like I'm going to have 8, 10, negative 6x. And then I'm going to have negative 16 plus 4, which should give us, which would give me negative 12. And again, on the bottom, we still have the same thing. So now what I'm doing with you guys right now is like the hardest of the hard. Okay, and I did it on purpose because I'm trying to put it on the notes. I try to make the homework a little bit more simpler when you're going to solve these ones. But this is probably the most ridiculous one that I would give you guys. Now, in order to simplify it down, so what Tabitha mentioned earlier is, hey, we want to cancel some stuff out. Well, in order to cancel some stuff out, we have to factor the top first. So we can factor that top by doing GCF. So when I go to factor out that top, notice there's a 6 in all of those. So I'm going to pull a 6 to the outside, and I'm still left with x squared minus x minus 2. And technically, I kept copying the bottom, but there is one thing you can factor out of the bottom. If you look at that 12x minus 24, you can actually pull a 12 out of that. So I'm going to pull a 12 to the outside, and I would be left with an x minus 2, because if I distribute this 12x or 12 into the x and the 12 into the negative 2, that's all this answer rate is right here. It's the same thing. And then I still have x plus 2, and I still have x minus 4. And last but not least, we could still factor that top. So that x squared minus x minus 2 could be factored down once again, and we would have 6 times x. It looks like it would be a minus 2 and an x plus 1. So I've been saying from the get-go, you are not allowed to cancel things out unless everything is multiplication. So if you look at the top, it says 6 times x minus 2 times x plus 1. It is now all multiplication. The bottom, 12 times x minus 2 times x plus 2 times x minus 4. Now that everything is multiplication, now you guys can do that last step and you can start canceling some stuff off. The only parentheses that are the same in this case are the x minus 2's. So those are gone. So your parentheses that are still left, you're still going to have an x plus 1 on the top. And you're still going to have the x plus 2 and x minus 4 on the bottom. And then you have 6 over 12. So 6 over 12 can be reduced because technically you could divide both of those by 6. So if you divide this by 6, that means we're just left with a 1 on the top. And if you divide that 12 by 6, you're going to be left with a 2 on the bottom. It's a lot of work to get that one last answer. Okay. So obviously we didn't have to finish this right now, but a lot of you guys wanted to stay, so I have no problem doing it. And they want to see a picture of the puppy, babe. Let's see here. Where did I put it? I had it in my email. I got to save it to my desktop because I can't put, why can't it download? There it goes. I don't care. Copy, don't copy. Oh, it's not letting me do all of them. That question right there would be a 4-point question. I have never seen anything that intense on a Regents exam. The Regents exam will do something like part B. So let's see here. I can add a picture, image, add source, new. Let's see here. Desktop. All files. That, I know it's a little bit blurry because it came from a cell phone, but that's going to be our puppy, and that is going, his name is Archie. So they named him Brody, but we're naming him Archie. So he is right now 7 weeks old, and we should be able to go pick him up this Saturday. We have to drive to Ohio to pick him up, so we're trying to do it quickly before New York State gets shut down. It is a corgi. So yeah, we'll definitely be doing some puppy streams when it comes to the weekends and stuff. Puppy and whatchamacallit, guinea pig streams. My wife might do a guinea pig stream within the next couple of days. The guinea pigs need to come out and run. I think I mentioned it the other day. The one is getting really, really fat. All right. So, yeah, the stream definitely went a little bit longer than I wanted to today, but if you guys don't have any questions, I mean, we'll just end it there. Tomorrow we'll continue on. So, like, I got to move the puppy out of the way for a second. I'll put the puppy right here next to me. So, we'll do part B on exercise number 2. And then when you get to the back page, we're just going to do exercise number 3A and 3B because those are going into negative exponents. And then number 4 is a crazy challenge question. Now, this used to be given on old school Regents exams, and this would be like a 6-pointer. If we have time tomorrow, I'll show it to you guys. Nightbot is attacking you. Jeez. Man, it's even attacking Tessa right now. All right, so let's see here. Sierra, is this a question just for you or is it a question for everybody? Because I saw that you sent the email. I just didn't look at it. Let's see here. Oh, as far as, don't worry about it. Yeah, Sierra, don't worry about it right now. I'll figure out what we can do for you. I might just exempt you from it and just make life easy. Okay? If anybody has questions about grades, basically, if you have something in there that says like 0, then like you have a 0 in there, I'm going to ask you to try to make that up. If you have something that was missing because you were absent or because for whatever reason, those I'll probably just mark exempt. Okay? All right. So I don't have anything else to add for today. Same time tomorrow. I'll be on 3 o'clock. I got to get going, though, because I got to start my Math 12 lesson in 15 minutes. So I got to do a little break. I have to get a drink. I have to go see what my wife wanted because she just got home. I hope you guys all have an awesome evening. Zoom should be pushed to your iPads sometime soon. We just got the email for that. And make sure you're connecting with your other teachers. Okay? If you have not been in contact with your teachers, they are trying to get a hold of you. I promise. Check your emails, check your reminds, check any other way, Schoology, whatever you guys are doing for your classes. For me, I'll always be Remind, email, and Twitch. Those are the 3 that I will always be doing. So I hope you guys have an awesome evening. I'll catch you guys soon. Bye.